You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. My name is John Carissimo, and this show is brought to you by the Tampa School of Real Estate. We're here every single Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, to help you understand how to actually make a career out of your real estate license. You know, something that goes very often beyond what you learn in the classroom, at least in your pre-licensing course. So the first course you sign up with to get your real estate license, you get super excited, you're getting your real estate license, but then you sit down for class and you realize that what you're actually required to learn by the Florida Real Estate Commission in order to even get a real estate license isn't how to make millions with a real estate license, but how to legally operate with a real estate license. And there are some courses and trainings and things like that that come after the fact that are really going to help clue you in on helping you understand what you need to do to get a real estate license. But we're here every Friday. We've been doing this since 2016, I want to say, is when we first started these up. So for many years now, we've been here every single Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, helping you understand this technical side of the real estate industry so you could grow your real estate business. Understanding things like building a pipeline, holding an open house, working with buyers, working with sellers, and so many other topics that we've covered over the years. So if you're not yet subscribed already, I'll go ahead and put this on the board. You can head right over to our website, tsre.us. Visit us online. We actually have a really great promotion going on right now at tampaschoolofrealestate.com. So check that out if you're in the market for pre-licensing, post-licensing, or any courses that you need for your real estate license. You can find that all at tsre.us. And if you have any questions, you could always call or text our advisors. We have a team of licensed advisors to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that they can. 813-333-2676 is the magic phone number that you don't want to forget. 813-333-2676. But the good news is you can just save that as a contact in your phone. Then you don't have to worry about forgetting. So tsre.us, you can visit us online. We've got a live chat on there. You could even text us. You could call us. You could stop into our main office. That's actually where I'm broadcasting today, right in New Tampa. We're right off of I-75 and Bruce Speed Downs. Very easy to get to, right off the interstate, like within like a minute of the interstate. So this is why it's one of our most popular locations. It is a very easy to access location. And you know, sometimes people want to come to, like, you know, the main headquarters. That's where we do, you know, the fancy photos outside in front of like the building and all that other type of good stuff. So great experience if you want to come for one of our instructor-led programs here in person. But a majority of our students actually don't take classes in person with us. Now, if you've taken some of our classes, you might be saying, well, there was like 20 to 30 people in my class. What do you mean they're not majority in the classroom? We actually have people worldwide from over 40 countries. We might be over 50 countries now at this point, but at least over 40. Last time I checked, I think it was like 41 last time I checked this, that we've had students from countries all over the world. And yeah, some of them are actually coming here to take in-person classes, but for the most part, they're utilizing one of our 3 different online programs. Either our live online, where we literally take the classroom experience and bring it to you wherever you are in the world. We also have an on-demand video course, and that's taught by yours truly. So if you like what I have to say, if you like my style of instruction, then definitely sign up for that video on-demand course. It's actually our most popular online course now, because it's a video-based program. It's all short, easy to follow segments. It comes with a textbook, so you can even follow along with that. And it also works with our app, even in offline mode. So our exam prep, a lot of our course materials, that could even be taken offline. So that way, if you're on a plane without Wi-Fi, or you're just in a place where your phone just likes to buffer, or, you know, maybe the cellular network goes down because, you know, crazy things are happening, you could still do your real estate course, whatever it may be. That's really the app was to help make it easier to get into, to make it easier to access, to be able to access this material anytime, any place. And again, get right into it from the click of a button. So that's our app. We just launched that this year, and almost every single one of our students download that. If you're already a student and you haven't downloaded it, then definitely download it. And we also even have a text-based online course as well. If you prefer to read, if you're someone who likes to read, then we also have a completely text-based, self-paced online course. Or if you want the self-paced aspect, but you want a instructor, especially if you want videos, that's our video on demand course. Or if you want to commit to a certain schedule of the live instructor, you can do that online or in person. So I know it can be a lot, from what courses to take, to what's the best format, to how quickly you can do it, to what's next after it. We've got all these videos, but again, this phone number right here, our advisors are amazing. They watch these videos too, so a lot of times they'll even send you some of these videos for some additional information, because we go deep on some of these episodes of State of Real Estate. But what I want to talk about today specifically are the top 3 mistakes specifically for new agents. The top 3 mistakes for new agents. And look, we could also even talk about top mistakes when it comes to studying and top mistakes to all the leading up to getting your real estate license. But let's say you've got your real estate license. And I'm pretty sure I've been guilty of all 3 of these mistakes at some point early on in my real estate career. But there's 3 things that, a lot of different mistakes it is that you can make, but these 3 things are really good ways to summarize the things that could go wrong when you're starting a real estate career. And if you know about what could go wrong, you could prevent it from going wrong, especially if you know that these are mistakes. That's the thing. When you think about that term mistake, that's not something you're doing on purpose. You're not trying to sabotage your real estate career on purpose. It's a mistake. But if these are the top mistakes that happen, then it's very likely to happen to you. It's not like some sort of, thing that, you don't really need to worry about that because that probably won't happen. No, these are the things that unless you make intentional actions to overcome these problems, they're likely to cause issues with getting started in your real estate career. So the number 1 mistake, and I absolutely was guilty of this when I got started, is joining the wrong broker, wrong brokerage. Joining the wrong brokerage. Now, why is this a mistake, and why is there even such a thing as the wrong brokerage? Aren't all real estate brokerages great? In their own certain way, yes. But now what part of the brokerage makes it not so great? Especially for someone who might be a new real estate agent. And so we'll put some bullet points below these different mistakes here. Actually, you know what? We'll just start a whole new slide of this because there's a few things I want to talk about when it comes down to joining a brokerage and how that could actually be a mistake. So we'll put that up here. Joining the wrong brokerage. And there's several different things that could cause you to join the wrong brokerage. For me, it was a recommendation. A recommendation of someone close to me that I used as, I wouldn't say the sole thing that made me choose the brokerage I did when I got started in real estate, but it was something that absolutely skewed my judgment and made me overlook some things that I probably should have been more concerned about had I thought about this a little bit more. So it's great that you've got a friend or a family member or somebody that's rooting for you, that's cheering for you, and I'm not saying that isn't necessarily going to be a great brokerage to start, but honestly, a recommendation of someone close to you, I would put that at the bottom of the list when it comes down to things it is that you're using to qualify the right brokerage for you getting started. And the reason why is it might be right for them, but not right for you. So it could be a brokerage that's great. Not even just right for them, but great for them. But let me ask you the question, are you them? Are you somebody that has 5 years of experience as a real estate agent and you eventually made it to this brokerage? Or are you somebody brand new starting out and considering a brokerage that doesn't have the best training? And that's actually the number 2 mistake. Just to kind of skip ahead here, since I just said it, that would be what I would say the number 2 mistake is not getting the right training. We'll just say not getting training. Number 1, make sure it has training, but then number 2, make sure it's the right training that is for a new agent. And so going back to joining the wrong brokerage, the brokerage I joined did have training, but the training was not designed for new agent. And so we'll actually rephrase this one here about the new agent, because we're talking about top mistakes for new agents. And ultimately, training could be something that you outsource, that you don't necessarily have to get from your brokerage. However, when you're new, when you're starting out, you really want information that's going to line up with the core values, the methodologies, the processes of your brokerage. And so if you go to like one of these real estate coaches, not only do they typically cost like thousands of dollars to at least get a good coach. I mean, there's all kinds of people out there that do coaching and training and stuff like that nowadays, which there's now also that question of, is this the right training for me? Is this something that's going to benefit me? And really what you've got to frame this around is what I went back to change this for, of new agent. If you are a new agent, you need training specifically designed for new agents that matches up with the brokerage it is that you're joining. So like I said, there's tons of great trainers out there. I've done a lot of these sales trainings and seminars, from things that are real estate specific to things that are generally based around sales to things that are business mastery to business planning. I've done so many seminars, workshops, courses, read books, audiobooks, so much of that. So especially if you like doing that type of stuff, you could really get a lot of applicable information doing this further education as you continue to grow your real estate career. But if we go back to mistake number 1, and to share you my personal experience, the brokerage I joined was in big part because of the recommendation I got from someone close to me, as a family member, who said, this is the brokerage you want to join. And the problem with this is recruiting incentives. And look, if you have somebody join your brokerage and they're successful there and you're now incentivized because of their success, that's the way most brokerages work. But where this goes wrong is a lot of agents are blindly trying to recruit anybody they possibly can to the company in the hopes that somebody's going to figure it out and they'll be able to make money off of that. And so that's where this now becomes a bad thing. Because if you're using this recommendation, and the person who recruited me, who recommended to me the brokerage that I joined when I first got started, there was an incentive program. And that was also something that got me sold on it. I was like, okay, well, yeah, of course they're recruiting me in, so they get 10% of my deals, but then I could also bring people in, and then I'll get 10% of their deals, and this whole like kind of pyramid scheme type of thing. And there's also single level models out there. There's the pyramid models. There's so many different things. And you don't want to get caught up in recruiting. You don't want to choose a brokerage because of recruiting, because that's not why you're getting into real estate. You're not getting into real estate to recruit agents. That's an incentive if you help the company grow, but that's not something that you want to get caught up in. Because also at the same time, if you're recruiting people, because that's what I was trying to do, I took my focus off of trying to get my real estate career off the ground and focused on who can I get to join. And as I got people to join and they weren't successful, that demoralized me about my career, about the company, about me actually even recruiting people into the company. And I was struggling myself because the brokerage it was that I joined did not have a good new agent training program. And so, like I said, this is something that you could outsource, of getting new agent training. You could go to, again, one of these coaches and pay extra money for that. But there's brokerages that exist that already have built-in training programs. And so you want to make sure that there's new agent training. Now, if you're not a new agent, obviously that's not going to be important, but we're specifically talking about top mistakes that new agents make. And as a new agent, these mistakes can be so much more detrimental just because you're in such a make it or break it stage of your business. Your business is so fragile when it's first getting started because, number one, you're needing to get it off the ground so you actually start making money. So not only you could pay yourself, but so you could have money to be able to grow your business, to be able to afford expenses that are going to help you grow and scale your real estate business. You know, that's why you're able to get $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 commissions in a single deal sometimes. And yeah, that'd be awesome to use all that money as a payday for you. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but there's things that you could spend money on to actively grow your business, to automate your business, to hire assistants, to hire buyer agents and listing agents, to build a team to where you don't even necessarily have to work in the trenches. And now you could build something truly bigger than yourself. And, you know, you add recruiting incentives to that, and now you can make even more money on top of the agreement. So this is where, again, a lot of this stuff can get clouded. And the number one thing, especially if you're a new agent, if you're not a new agent, this isn't the number one thing. That's the number one thing if you are a new agent of what you want from your brokerage is you want new agent training. Because that way you don't have to go outsource this and get the training from somebody else. Because that's what I tried to do. When I realized the brokerage it was that I joined didn't have a training program, I had to go look elsewhere to find training. Now, don't get me wrong, it did have training, but the training was related to mindset. It was related to farming, which if you're not sure what farming is, it's basically marketing a very specific area, but farming costs money. And now for an experienced agent who's already had deals, they've got money set aside so they can invest in sending out postcards and newsletters and things like mailers on a monthly basis to a neighborhood so they could build recognition and so on and so forth. But as a new agent, that's usually not feasible. Number one, because you have limited funds to get your business off the ground, and the farming and marketing takes time to be able to start to see a return on your investment. So I was focused on long-term strategies when I needed short-term gains. And that was another mismatch that kind of leads me here to number 3, is not having a business plan. And we'll talk a little bit more about the significance of that and how you can go about building out a business plan. But what that's going to do is that's going to help you make sure you join the right brokerage. That's going to help make sure you're getting the right training. And it's going to make sure that you're not wasting your time on things you shouldn't be doing. So if you're just here to find the top 3 mistakes and you don't want to watch a long video, here they are. Make sure you join the right brokerage. Make sure you get new agent training, preferably through the brokerage it is that you're joining. And number 3, make sure you have a business plan to make sure that that is the right brokerage beyond training, but it's the right business for what you're trying to do with your real estate license. Because there's many different flavors of brokerage out there with many different models, from different compensation models to ones that are exclusively for full-time, to ones that are full-time or part-time, to ones that are designed for new agents, to ones that are designed for experienced agents, to ones that are designed for luxury, to ones that are designed for economical factors, to ones that are designed to be the biggest brokerage in the world where the agents are just a number, to little mom and pop brokerages where you get great attention but maybe the resources aren't there, and everything in between. So there's so many brokerages out there, and if you're like me, you choose the brokerage based off of this thing, of what was recommended to me. Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't know what to look for, what else do you have to go off of choosing a good brokerage? Well, this person's been successful, so obviously because this person's been successful, I could be successful, and that is so wrong. Because unless you have an identical business plan to that other person, that might not be the best fit for you. So having a business plan is something you've probably heard me advise before as something that you should do before you even start interviewing brokers of trying to find the right broker for you. And you don't even necessarily have to interview them, because a lot of brokerages now will have presentations and even entire websites and things like that that explain the model, that explain the platform, that explain the tools it is that you're getting. And if that aligns with your business plan, it's designed for new agents, that could be a very effective brokerage for you getting started. But again, I relied on recommendation of somebody, and that recommendation was skewed by the recruiting incentive that existed for that person, because now any money that I made, there was a percentage of that kicked back to who it was that introduced me or sponsored into the company, which I'm not saying that that's wrong in and of itself, but if you choose a brokerage solely based on the recommendation, again, if that recommendation is based solely on the recruiting incentive, that's where this could be very wrong. This is where it could go very wrong. But you could overcome that and still join a brokerage that has some sort of recruiting incentive, as long as you know it's going to be the right fit for you. Not because it's a good fit for whoever's telling you to join, but because it's a good fit for you and your business plan and what you've laid out as the things it is that are important for what you want out of your career. So new agent training is going to be important. And now, as I already mentioned, there's really two sides of the brokerages on the two sides of the spectrum. So for lack of a better term, we'll call one side mom and pop, and we'll call the other side big corporate. So the mom and pop style brokerages, these are going to be your local type of brokerages, where maybe they only have one office. They might even only have a handful of agents. Compared to the opposite end of the spectrum, these are going to be the biggest names in real estate. They're often international, meaning that they have offices even in multiple countries, in multiple places, multiple jurisdictions. And they tend to have the most recognizable brands, which is what gravitates a lot of new agents, because they know who that company is. They've seen the signs before, they've heard of them, and that's just because they have such a high count of agents. And you could get into the hundreds of thousands at some of these companies. But now the problem is with joining these bigger companies, you might say, why wouldn't I want to join the biggest brand that has so many agents? There must be so many agents because they're so successful. But at the same time, some of the cons that come with joining these larger brokerages is that you're just a number. That you're just a number, that it's not personalized. That it could feel very impersonal. But one of the other pros on this is usually the tools and the training. But the problem with the training here is, again, that it's not personalized, and because we're dealing with international companies that have to apply to multiple jurisdictions, what happens is not just are you not getting personalized support or personalized attention, but the training is not localized. So not localized training. And what I mean by that Florida, for example, has its own set of contracts, its own set of documents. And that's probably going to be the biggest thing that's going to cause you friction as you're trying to get started joining one of these larger companies, is if you don't have any training on the local practices, the local procedures, the local contracts and agreements. That's where this could go very wrong very quickly, because those are very essential things you need to get started. And one other thing that I'll put down on this here, so not only do we have like the unpersonalized, the non-localized type of training. It's again, you're a small number on a very big roster, especially when you're brand new and you haven't really proven yourself yet. A lot of times the case with some of these bigger organizations is you don't really start to get attention until you start to prove that you could do what you're doing. But now if you're not able to figure it out, you never get to that point. And one other thing that's on here is the franchise system. Because of the way the legalities work, there can't be really just one big corporate office typically. They're usually a separate, and usually most of the companies do this. Almost every single one does this through franchising. So just like a McDonald's, you can go buy a McDonald's franchise and you've got a turnkey system to make hamburgers and sell them for a profit. Well, that's what brokers buy into when they buy one of these franchises. And that's why there's always slightly different names among these different brokerages, because the different names that they have the brand name, but then along with a couple other words to them, because that's the individual franchisee. And so what happens here is there's often a disconnect. There's often a disconnect, and these also tend to have higher cost. So for everybody, that's the one that a lot of agents use to drive their decision is the commission splits. That's one of the only things that a new agent, if you haven't built a business plan, if you haven't studied any of this stuff, that's one of the only things it is that you know to ask of what is the commission split. And what happens with most of these bigger corporations is they have the most complicated fee structures. And that's because the franchisee has to get paid, the regional office has to get paid, the international office has to get paid, the shareholders have to get paid. There's money literally flowing from your commission to all these other places. And when you're trying to get into real estate to be able to take more control, this is where a lot of this is now offloaded into the corporate world, going to people that you'll never meet, that you'll never see, going to things that you don't always know where that money is actually going to. And there's a lot of these bigger corporations that have gone bankrupt despite what money it is that they earn from their agents, despite what they're able to do. And they usually, most brokerages, they end up saving this before they end up going into bankruptcy, but this is where they change different tools because they've got to find cheaper options for stuff and so many different things, just because, again, there's a large corporate hierarchy with these organizations. Now, we look at the other side, the local mom and pop. And remember, this is a spectrum, so there's all different levels in between. I'm taking the two extreme ends, so from the most corporate brokerages that would exist out there to the most local, small-time brokerages. And so with these, local, the support and attention is almost always going to be higher in the mom and pop brokerages, but this is where you start to see some of the problems here on this side here is you get a lack of structure. And they usually typically don't have training, little to no training, because if they only have a few agents, they don't really have the means to be able to invest in some sort of training program or build their own training program. And so a lot of times, if they are taking on new agents, that's where they tend to do shadowing and basically learn by watching. But when you learn by watching, you might be able to repeat, but you don't understand. And so that doesn't really get you in a position where you could really effectively grow your business, because every real estate transaction is going to be slightly different. And so if you're just simply trying to observe somebody, and number one, you might be observing somebody who's not a good example. Just because they've sold some houses doesn't necessarily mean that they're a good role model for how you to model off of your business. They might have some bad habits. There's a lot of bad habits that a lot of different real estate agents have. There's a lot of things that they don't even realize they're doing that are self-destructive and self-defeating, and so on and so forth. So ultimately, you really don't want to be on either end of the spectrum. You don't want to be at the big corporation to where you're not getting all the personalized support, that there's a disconnect and there's higher costs. But at the same time, you don't want to be at the smallest brokerages either, where you're not getting the things that you need to get started. So ideally, you want to be somewhere here in the middle. That's a good balance to where, again, it is a localized type of organization where there is support, there is attention. It doesn't have to be a franchise. It does not have to be one of these big brand names. And here's the thing about these big brand names. When they have hundreds of thousands of agents, or however tens of thousands of agents even, when they have that many agents, there's a lot of opportunity for them to have already had a bad experience with that brand. So you might be thinking you're getting an advantage joining the biggest brand in real estate, but it might be a disadvantage because there's a lot of people out there that are generally unhappy with the service it is that they've received by their real estate professional. And especially at some of the bigger brands, just because a lot of times, even though they might have training programs, again, they might not be specific to your market, to your state, to whatever it is that you're doing. And so there still can be, again, that big disconnect to where you're able to get by, you're able to figure things out, but you don't necessarily always thrive. Again, but at the same time, on the small side of things, you've got to make sure that you've got the things you need to be successful. And one of the big things here is also the tools. But now, it used to be that back in the day, if you wanted good real estate tools and you wanted a whole system of things, you had to get that through your broker. But now everything from websites to contact managers to marketing to transaction management systems to training to all these different things it is that you need to build a real estate business. These can be outsourced, but if you try to outsource them, you as the agent, you really can't afford that starting out. But if you join a broker that's somewhere in between the small mom and pop, but not quite a big corporation, that's where you could get the tools. That's where you could get good local training. So again, you don't want to pick like the biggest companies that just are massive. They say, we got the most agents or we do the most this. The bigger it is, the less attention you'll get. So you want to still make sure that there's attention and that there's support. And multiple layers of support, because the problem with the mom and pop is usually the only support that you have is through the broker. And most of the time, because these are smaller organizations where the broker isn't relying on agents to be able to generate revenue for the company, they've got to sell real estate themselves. And what we call that is a competing broker. And a competing broker typically is not available to assist in building your real estate career because they're concerned with their own sales, their own transactions. And yes, they have their own office where somehow you've been able to join this organization. But when you're looking for the attention and the support, you've got to make sure really that there's more than just the broker to provide that. Because if the broker is your only source of attention and support, no matter what the size, even if it's like a 3-person brokerage where you got the broker and 2 people, that broker might not even have time for the other 2 agents because they're so focused on what they've got to do for their own business, their own clients, and they don't have time really to help you and get you set up. But in the more mid-sized brokerages, the mid-sized brokerages that aren't the super small mom and pop, that aren't the 10,000 plus agent brokerages, I would even say like the 1,000 agent plus brokerages. I mean, if they've got 1,000 agents, maybe they do have a really good attention and support structure, and maybe they don't really fit the bill of these big corporate brokerages here, but chances are that's once they get that big, that's where there's more of this going on. I'm not saying that all the big brokerages above 1,000 wouldn't be a good fit for new agents, but this is why you want to do your due diligence and really why you want to have a business plan of what you're going to be operating on, how you want to operate, so that way you can match up the brokerage to make sure that the tools make sense. One thing, just to jump ahead to the business plan aspect of this. And this is where you ask yourself the questions like number 1. And actually, before we get to number 1, this should be your number 1. Are you going to be full-time or part-time? Most new agents will start out part-time, but if you don't join a brokerage that's designed for part-time success, and one example for this, for something that's really going to help out when you're part-time, is on-demand training. And that's going to be something you're typically going to see for more in the mid to larger brokerages. Most of the mom and pops are not going to have some sort of on-demand training. I mean, I've seen before some of the smaller brokerages, they put some videos together and maybe put them on YouTube or something like that. But the problem there is a lot of times, I literally saw one where they had like a phone propped up and it was the front-facing camera and you really couldn't hear anything. You really couldn't see anything. It was like an hour-long training. But is it really engaging you? Is it really something that's designed for the on-demand format, or is it just a crappy recording of a live training that doesn't really help you out? It could still be a recording of a live training, but you got to make sure you could hear it. You got to make sure it makes sense. You got to make sure you could see what they're presenting, not just a camera that's pointed at the projector screen that's kind of crooked. It just adds so much friction, making it so much more difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done. You're just making it more difficult. But so especially if you're doing something part-time, the on-demand training is essential. And again, this needs to be new agent-specific training. But one other thing, let's say you are doing part-time. Are you going to be full service or referrals? That's a big question, because referrals are an entirely different category of brokerages. But the benefit with a referral brokerage is you don't have to pay for the MLS, you don't have to join the realtors. It's going to be significantly lower cost, but you could only refer business as opposed to actually doing the business. So if you want to actually do the business, that's where full service is going to more come in, but that's also going to be where you need the tools, you need the realtors, you need the MLS. And that all cost money. Whereas referrals, all you need are leads, which you might already have your own leads. You might already have your own contacts, because what's great about referrals is it works pretty much internationally. You can refer somebody basically anywhere and legally earn a referral fee as long as you have an active Florida real estate license. And you don't even have to do any of the work other than make the connection. So you need leads and a referral agreement. And that's literally all you need to be successful on the referral side. Maybe some training on how to get referrals and whatnot, but it's a one-page document. You put your name, the other agent's name, the client's contact info, and what they agreed upon referral fee is. What percentage of the end-all be-all commission is going to go to you. And so that's a much easier way to practice real estate, but you're not really practicing real estate. You're letting somebody else practice the real estate, and you're just getting a piece of the deal for making the referral. And this could be a really great way to start out, especially if you're starting part-time, especially if you have a demanding job currently that wouldn't really allow you the time to take advantage of whether the live or on-demand training. And in addition to having to invest your time, you're also investing money in the tools. And typically you could get this through your broker, which that's what I'm going to recommend. All the tools you need really as a new agent, if you're trying to be a full service agent, you want to have all the tools provided by your broker, or as many as possible provided by your broker. There's really no broker that's going to provide absolutely everything there is that could help grow your real estate business. There's always something more you could buy, some additional training you could go to. There's always more you can do to grow. But you want a foundational base of, things like the website, the contact manager, marketing tools, things like that. The training itself, I would call that a tool. But then you also have to join the realtors, the MLS, and those take subscriptions for them. So that's something you're paying for on an annual basis. And if you're not really doing anything because you're too busy, it doesn't really make sense to try to be full service when really you should try to be referrals. And so laying out your business plan is really going to help you understand which side, or even if you're going to stay with that full service route, where on this spectrum do you want to be? In the super small? Probably not. In the super big? Probably not. Probably somewhere in the middle. But there's a lot of different brokerages in the middle that could have varying different things. Maybe you're not the most tech savvy person, so having like the website and other digital tools aren't as important to you. Or maybe you do want something that's very simple, that's very turnkey, so you don't have to figure that all out on your own. Because when these are tools provided by your brokerage, there's typically support systems there, either directly through that tool, through whatever company sells the website or contact manager, or because the entire brokerage uses that system. A lot of times there's some sort of support line through the brokerage to be able to get help with that. Whereas if you outsource this to go get your own website, your own contact manager, all these other things, that's what I did when I got started. And it was nerve-wracking because I also had to play the role of IT to be able to manage all these systems together, and maybe more of a chief technical officer is maybe where you'd have to place what you're doing. Whereas if that's outsourced to your brokerage, and your brokerage is providing you the right set of tools for your business plan, now you don't have to worry about putting all the pieces of the puzzle together on your own. And now the training is going to really focus more on tying everything that brokerage offers together. Instead of just getting some training on your broker on one thing, and then you've got to go do your own separate training with the website company, and now the website company is telling you something contradictory to what your broker says. And that's where, again, things just don't line up, and it starts to not make sense. And when it doesn't make sense, you lose confidence. And when you lose confidence, you're not going to get as much business as if you are actually confident and feel like that you could do this, and feel like that you're supported, and feel like if you do something wrong, there's somebody that can help you undo that wrong. And that's what, again, that support and that attention really comes down to. And now when everything is under that same brokerage, all your tools, all the things it is that you need, you could get kind of more full service support, as opposed to, well, who do I got to go to ask a question about my website? Or who do I ask a question about my contact manager? Or what if I'm trying to do some marketing? Who do I contact about trying to market myself? And as a new agent, that makes this all, again, very confusing, makes you lose your confidence, and so much it is that could go wrong with that. So getting back to these top 3 mistakes, you want to make sure that you join the right brokerage that's designed for not only new agent success, because if you're a new agent, that's the one thing you have in common with every other new agent, is that you're new, and generally speaking, you don't really know. You might know some things, but you really need a brokerage that's going to help you fill in the gaps of the specifics. Maybe you have some sales training, maybe you have some marketing background, maybe you've ran businesses before, and that's all going to be things that help you out. But there's still going to be very similar new agent information that you're going to need regardless of where you go or really even what you're doing as a realtor. And that's where your business plan is going to help you get those specifics down more. And not even just the things about how you're working and what you want to get out of your business, but even as it relates to where you're getting leads from, how you're getting leads, and things it is that you might not even know to ask yourself yet because you haven't even been trained on any of that. And so if you want to help fill in those gaps more, this is, if there's a fourth mistake, I'd put that up here as one of the top 4 mistakes. And I would say this doesn't make the cut because if you've seen a lot of our content recently, we really advise about doing this right away. But the 4th mistake that I would say is related to this. Post licensing. Post meaning after, because this is the course that is FREC required after you've got your license. But now with me saying FREC required, you probably cringe a little bit because that's what I did when I got my real estate license. I heard that the 45-hour post-licensing course was FREC required. Oh, and that freckin' FREC, the frecking FREC. That's the people that tell you got to study these laws and know these rules and know this many days about escrow and know that contracts need to be in writing and signed unless it's blah, 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 blah. And all those little details that you're like, why do I need to know this? That is the Florida Real Estate Commission. And specifically for your pre-licensing course, they actually have a very detailed syllabus of all the different topics that they could potentially test on your state exam. And so for me, I dragged out getting my license. I did eventually pass my state exam on the first try when I eventually did take it, but I did such a disservice to myself really dragging this out because that makes you have to like relearn the info again. And because I literally had to relearn this information after I took the class to get my real estate license, I had to go back through and I was studying it and relearning it all over again because I let so much time go by and I was busy hating my day job that I was doing. I was literally studying for my exam at my day job, and these are the people I blamed for making this so difficult. I just need to get a real estate license. Why do I got to pass this stupid exam? This is so stupid. This is so nonsensical. I was arguing about it, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter how much I hated it. I had to do it. But what really threw me off, what really set me back when I got started, is I waited until the renewal. And that would be the number 4 mistake. And I'm just going to put don't wait. Because waiting to take this course was probably the biggest mistake of my first 2 years in real estate. Because there's so much that you learn in your post-licensing that you thought you were going to learn in your pre-licensing, that you thought you were going to learn when you first get your real estate license. But then instead, if you're like me, you just get mad that the Florida Real Estate Commission is making you have to learn so many different arbitrary things. But the difference with post-licensing is there's not a detailed FREC syllabus. So as a school, we have to keep it within the real estate space, otherwise they're not going to approve this course, but they don't really care as much about us teaching all these specific laws and all these specific things that'll be on your state exam because there is no state exam. There does have to be an end-of-course exam in there, which that's part of our way of basically proving to the FREC that you went through this course and you understood it. So there is an end-of-course exam, but because we don't have that very specific syllabus that we have for your course 1, your pre-licensing, now we have a lot more freedom to be able to teach things that are actually going to help you understand real estate. And there was nobody telling me this when I got my real estate license. The person who recruited me to the company didn't tell me to go take post-licensing. I mean, it had been a while since they got it. I mean, I think at that point they've had their license over a decade, so they probably forgot all about post-licensing and really how much of an impact that makes when you don't really know what to do with your real estate license. My broker didn't tell me that. None of the agents in the office told me I should go do it. The only people telling me to do it were postcards in the mail saying, your license is going to expire. And I was like, big deal. I don't even know if I want to keep it. That was literally my mindset when I got started. I don't even know if I want to keep this license because I was struggling. I wasn't figuring it out. I was at the wrong brokerage. I didn't have new agent training. I didn't have a business plan. And eventually when I found success, it was before I took post-licensing, but I ended up paying thousands of dollars for something that really taught me the same things I later learned again in post-licensing. And you know what, it probably did have more depth to it because it was a longer program than, say, the post-licensing would be, but all those higher level topics, they were just going right over my head just because that foundational stuff that I would have already learned in my post-licensing, I would have already known that. And so that way I could take away higher level things had I already done that post-licensing. But instead, I paid a ton of money for a course that I only took away the basics from because I didn't know the basics, because I didn't yet take this class. And a part of this class is actually developing your business plan. Now, legally, once you get your real estate license, you're able to join a broker and start practicing real estate. That's what I did. I didn't take this course right away. But if I could go back, this is one of the things I would change. I would take this post-licensing course right away. I don't know what type of butterfly effect that would have. Who knows, maybe I would be just so engrossed in being successful in real estate that maybe I wouldn't be standing before you here today telling you how important it is to take post-licensing. So maybe that's the reason why I was put through this treacherousness of trying to figure out and start up my business, so I can now share with you today all the mistakes that I've made, and not only my mistakes, but the mistakes I've seen thousands of other agents make that have not just came through Tampa School of Real Estate, but through my own real estate brokerages, to constantly improve upon and better my understanding of what do you need, what's really important to be successful in real estate. And not just all the things you need to know, but what are the simplest things. And because this actually is a requirement, here's the thing, you've got to do it if you want to keep your real estate license beyond 18 months, you're going to need to do this course. And in hindsight, you don't want to give up your license after 18 months because there's a lot of other opportunities that don't even involve actively practicing real estate. You could use it for your own benefit. You could use it for referrals. If you're investing in real estate, it could help you instantly increase your return on investment because you have access to the commission. You have access to the MLS and property databases. So there's so much and so many reasons why you wouldn't want to lose your license, especially after all the work it is you put in. And the post-licensing course, it is a 45-hour course, but as I said, there is no state exam. There is an end-of-course exam, but once you do that, literally all you got to do is this little skinny mail-away book with a 30-question open book exam. Every 2 years after that, just a 30-question open book exam. It's like a $30, $40 course, so super easy to complete. And that's all you've got to do to keep your license. And so getting the license in the first place is the most difficult part about this. The renewals are much simpler. They only get easier. This one, it's got a lot of info in it, but honestly, if you're practicing real estate, this is the information that you need to know to be able to be successful, at least to build the foundation. So that way, when you take trainings with your broker, everything's going to make more sense because you know more than just a contract has to be in writing and signed. When you go to a broker and all you have is just the information that you learn in this pre-licensing course and the information that you're studying to pass the exam, I mean, it's almost comical because you have no clue of what else to do. And then that puts now all the burden on the broker to teach you literally everything beyond the laws and rules that you learn in this course. Which, I don't want to go into all of the reasons why that could go terribly wrong, but a part of it is just now because you're getting the basics, there's just so much that you rely upon that broker for, and a lot of times the brokers don't always have this super essential training because the post-licensing course is where you would learn a lot of these basics, where you'd build out your business plan. And so you can join a broker before you do this, but I would advise against it because I would recommend that you really figure out your business plan, what it is that you want to do, what you're going to need from a broker, how you want to be able to serve your clients, and you'll understand the frameworks of that after going through this post-licensing course. Now, again, there's going to be more to learn, of course, but now when you do those other trainings, like if I had done this post-licensing course first, I know that sales training that I paid thousands of dollars for on multiple credit cards, and without going too deep in the story, I was this close to having to go back to my job after I quit my job because somebody said you couldn't start part-time, and that was just bad advice I got. And it wasn't that I couldn't start part-time, it's that I didn't have good new agent training. And until I found training that helped me out as a new agent, I wasn't successful. But the good news is that training is literally hiding right here. And not even hiding. If you just go looking for it in this course, this book is literally gold of all the information that's in here from, rather than learning about what makes a contract legal, you learn how to present an offer. Rather than appraising a property of just finding its arbitrary value, you're learning how to price a property to sell. Rather than knowing the basic telemarketing laws in your pre-licensing course, you're learning how to build a prospecting strategy to not just find new clients, but also follow up with your existing leads. There's so much, we go on, that you're learning in this post-licensing course, from listing properties and how to market a listing to sell. From holding open houses to trying to get for sale owner leads and expired leads and all these different things that are foundational, fundamental elements of your real estate business. Like I said, this course isn't going to teach you everything, so you're by no means done after you complete this course, but you're going to be light years ahead of somebody who just passed their real estate license and hasn't done anything else. And even light years ahead of people that have done the trainings at the brokerage. But what the problem is because these trainings can often get very advanced very quickly, especially if you don't have this post-licensing information, a lot of this stuff just goes right over your head. And now you're really just wasting your time. Because if you don't know what to do, if you don't know how to do it, whatever you're doing really is wasting your time. So that's why investing that time in the training is going to be essential, and because this is already a requirement. So this course meets your full 45-hour requirement, and you could take this course with this book, the same curriculum, in our classrooms, in a live online course where we bring our classroom to you live, or in an on-demand video-based format. And we also have a slightly different program that's still very good, that's a text-based program for that as well. So we've got lots of different options to be able to meet this 45-hour requirement, but it's all geared around trying to make this the most effective course for you possible, to make sure that you're getting the foundational, fundamental things you need to know. And honestly, I would really advise going through one of the instructor-led programs. The text-based course, I mean, if you do like to read, that can be very effective, but the curriculum does vary a little bit here. And this one, I really stand by the one that's in our instructor-led course as really being the best option that's out there for really helping you jumpstart your career. That's actually why we call the package that includes this in your pre-licensing course. You get both of these together along with all of the exam prep tools as well. So you literally get all of this and all the digital materials that comes with all of this stuff here. That actually is called our Complete Jumpstart Bundle. To get your license, to help you pass your exam, and to get the fundamental information you need to know to start your real estate career. So, I mean, if you look at that, that's a lot of information that's in there across these 3 books here. But it's really this one that's going to be the key to helping you make money. These are your key to passing between the exam prep and the actual textbook. That's your key to passing the exam and getting your license. But there's so much more than just getting your license. So these will help you get the license. This is going to help you make money with the license. That's your post-licensing. And again, you get all 3 of those together in our Complete Jumpstart program, where that way you're already prepaid on your post-licensing. It's going to save you some money, but that way you could also get started immediately. The moment you have your license, you're not trying to jump ahead and skip ahead to set yourself up for failure. You're literally getting the information that you're going to need so you can make your real estate career as momentous as possible. Because if you join a brokerage, that new brokerage smell kind of wears off quickly. And if you're not seeing results as quickly as you expect, that's where you start to get discouraged. And when you get discouraged, it's very hard to overcome that. And what happens, especially with people like me, a lot of times is you end up joining a new brokerage. And then you got that new brokerage smell for a while again, but if you're not making the necessary changes that are really going to help you understand what you need to do, it doesn't matter what brokerage you join. It literally will not matter whether you're at a small mom and pop brokerage, whether you're at a big corporation. You could be at any brokerage, and if you don't know what you need to do, you're not going to be successful. And it doesn't matter that the brokerage has training. If that training is over your head because you don't know the essentials, it's a waste of time. And so that's why, because again, not only is this a requirement, something that you need to do to keep your license, but it's just packed with information that is probably the info you were hoping your pre-licensing course would be, about how to make money with your real estate license. Whereas that's the big scheme of the FREC, is like, joke's on you. You're not going to learn how to make money. You're going to learn how to be legal, because that's what the FREC really cares about. The Florida Real Estate Commission, more than anything else, their number one duty is to protect the public. Not to protect us as realtors. They don't care whether we make money or not. Not at least at first. They do require this course, some form of a post-licensing, which again, they don't provide a specific syllabus. So this curriculum does vary based on the course you're taking, based on the school you're taking it with, and so on and so forth. But they don't care about this until after you've proven yourself that you know the laws and the rules. And so that's why this course really focuses mainly around laws, rules, and basic principles and practices. So power through that, get the license, but then immediately get yourself enrolled in the post-licensing course. And again, with our complete Jumpstart bundle, that's going to be your ticket to help get in there right away, as well as save money. Because with your post-licensing, you'll know the right brokerage to join because you've created a business plan, and you'll know some more about the training that you'll need. You'll know what types of training you need, because maybe you already have some sales skills. Maybe you already have some marketing skills. You're still going to need some real estate specific stuff, but you're not going to maybe need sales 101. Whereas if you don't have any sales background, that's okay. There's a lot of people that start their real estate careers who have never done sales before, that have never ran their own business, that have never done any marketing before. So there's plenty of people that start out with that. But if you don't get training to overcome what you don't know, you're setting yourself up for failure. So regardless of what experience you have, regardless of, I mean, even if you've had a license in another state, this is such a refresh on the basics and the fundamentals. I would still say to take that right away, just because even when you're there's still, I've had my license for many years now, and there's still things where I'll go back into this book, and it is just so fundamental and these aren't little things that, okay, you need to know that today, and then, you know, once you're more successful, you don't really need to know that. No, throughout your real estate career, the stuff that's taught in that post-licensing course will help you at any stage. So this is a really good book to have on your shelf as well, just to go back into and reference back in whenever it is you're trying to grow some area of your business. So if you have any questions about getting started, about getting your post-licensing completed, we actually have a renewal deadline coming up just in the next 2 months here. So check your renewal deadline, because if you've got your renewal deadline coming up and you haven't done your post-licensing yet, you'll literally lose your license. It'll go null and void. And that's when most people end up taking this course, is right before they go null and void, because they don't want to lose all the work they've put in to get the license. And then what happens when you're like me, because that's what I did, is you speed through the course. You don't really take time to take away and enjoy it. And now you're not really getting the full effect of that post-licensing course. Whereas when you take it right away, you're still excited. And what's going to happen is you'll get even more excited, because now you'll have more of a tangible plan of what you need to do to actually make money with your real estate license. Whereas if you wait to take this, you're only delaying your success. I could 100% prove that looking back on my real estate career, as well as several others' real estate careers, that everybody, when they take this course, no matter whether they just got the license or it's been 2 years since they got their license and they're literally about to run out, you're going to learn information in there that's going to help propel your real estate career forward. So that post-licensing course, I'm such a big proponent of it, not just because it's a course that we have to sell. Because again, and if you want to know what actually works for us selling the courses, it's like, hey, your license is going to expire unless you take this course. That's the easiest way for us to sell this course. It's much more difficult of us to convince you to take this course right away, because it's not a requirement anymore. And that's why I'm here to tell you, not just because of the requirement, but because of the information that's in here. You do not want to wait. I know I waited, and again, if I could change anything back in my real estate career, I can't. But if I could, it would be taking that post-licensing course right away. Because if I had that knowledge right away, I would have been successful so much faster. I would have struggled so much less. I probably would have achieved even greater levels of success, especially starting out, because I would have had so much more momentum. You know, if you're concerned with passing your exam on the first try, again, we've got those exam prep tools here to help you speed up that process, to help make this an easier process, an easier exam to pass. And doing that, so many people buy this and get these exam prep tools, even though these are not required, even though this is optional, because they want to maintain the momentum. They want to speed through this process so they could get right to making money before they get distracted with something else. Because the longer this takes, the more you drag it out, the less exciting this becomes. You know, you get a $10,000 commission after trying for a year, big deal. I only made $10,000 this year. But if you get a $10,000 commission in your first couple of months, wow, look at that. I've already got 10 grand. How many more deals can I close this year? And the difference is knowing what to do. And like I said, this post-licensing is not going to be an end-all be-all for you, but it's going to be the jumping-off point that allows you now to be able to take away those higher-level topics that you're going to be learning from your brokerage, from the Association of Realtors, from YouTube videos and podcasts and so much. Just because the learning curve, I'll put one more visual on the screen here. The learning curve in real estate is ridiculous. And this is why there's a lot of brokerages that are out of touch with new agents, just because where you're at as a new agent So 0 years, and we'll say 10 years. This is how it typically looks. You're brand new, you know absolutely nothing, nothing makes sense, you don't even know the most basic terms, and then you get in the right new agent training and you very quickly accelerate yourself. Now, there's, of course, tons of stuff you can do to continue growing, but what happens, a lot of agents do ultimately plateau after they get to a certain point. But because there's such a distance here between when you're brand new and you literally know nothing beyond your pre-licensing course compared to the agents that are out there practicing and actually making money with their real estate agent, a lot of times they're out of touch. And so that's why, again, you need to find a program specifically designed for new agent success. And you'll better understand what that looks like, especially for what you want to do in real estate, if you've already done your post-licensing course. So any questions about post-licensing, about the courses to get your real estate license, again, you can find that on our website, tsre.us. It'll take you right to tampaschoolofrealestate.com without having to type in tampaschoolofrealestate.com. You just type in tsre.us. That'll take you right there. If you want to actually see the sales we've got going on, we've got a really great back-to-school promo going on right now. Just go to tsre.us/sale. That'll take you right over to our sale page. That's going to get you your best deal, your best savings on not just the courses themselves, but also our bundle packages. So if you do want to take advantage of that complete Jumpstart bundle, so you get your pre-licensing course that the FREC's going to require, so that you get our, I want to say award-winning, but they don't really give out awards for exam prep. But, you know, the pass first try strategy that's been used by thousands of people to pass their exams on the first try, you get all of that with a complete jump start. And then most importantly, once you get your license, you have the guidebook of what you're going to do to actually make money with your real estate license, to build your business plan, to know what to do, to be able to know what you're going to need from your broker, to know what additional training it is you're going to need. That's all in the post-licensing. So again, you get all three of these in the complete Jumpstart bundle. That's what I would most highly recommend, just because, again, the course that's going to make the biggest difference for you, it's not the course to get your license or to pass the exam. That just gets you the license. That just gets you the seat at the table. The course that makes the biggest difference in your career will be the post-licensing, because that's what's going to help you understand what you need to do to actually make money with your real estate license. So any questions about that, anything we can help you with, 813-333-2676. Again, that's 813-333-2676. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way that they can. We are Florida's largest independent real estate school. Pretty much every other real estate school out there is these big international corporations that aren't as in tune with the students that we are. We're right here in Tampa, right here smack dab in the middle of Florida. Come stop into and see us if you're local. Otherwise, give us a call, 813-333-2676. We'd like to help you achieve your real estate empire, achieve your wildest real estate dreams. You know, just to give you a couple examples, we've had people that have gone on to get TV shows. From people just being an average everyday citizen, nothing really too special, nothing too significant about them, to building such a substantial real estate career, they literally have landed themselves on TV. And maybe you don't want to be TV. Maybe you don't want to be a TV star. Maybe you just want to make a lot of money. Maybe you just want to have a better work-life balance. Maybe you want to be more in control. Maybe you want to have a better schedule. Maybe you want to be able to create and manifest your own destiny as opposed to being subject to your employers and what your employer allows you for opportunities. So if those are things you're interested in, that's literally what we do best here at Tampa School of Real Estate, is helping people transition from wherever it is you may be coming from into building a successful real estate career. That's why we're here every Friday. Make sure you're subscribed. You can either put in our email on the website, tsre.us. Just go to tsre.us, drop in your email on any of those little email forms, and that should get you subscribed to our weekly live shows that we do every single Friday. If you get that Pass First Try bundle, the Pass First Try bundle, it also includes weekly live exam prep every Wednesday. It's an exam prep and networking group, and it's really beneficial to all the on-demand tools because it adds a little extra life. It helps keep you motivated, it helps keep you on track, and it also helps you meet other new agents who are also in the same shoes it is that you're in. So that's, again, every Wednesday if you purchase that Pass First Try bundle. But every single Friday, we've got this free, open to the public. So whether you're brand new to real estate or you've already got your real estate license, maybe through another school, and you're like, where was Tampa School of Real Estate when I got my real estate license? Come take your post-licensing with us. Even if you've already done post-licensing, come do your continuing education with us. Or just watch our videos every Friday, because even these videos of themselves are going to give you information, tips, tools, knowledge that's going to help you build a successful real estate business. So I greatly appreciate you joining me here today. Again, any questions, 813-333-2676. Have a fantastic weekend. Take advantage of that back to school sale. If you need any of the courses, literally almost everything in our catalog is on sale right now with that back to school sale. Again, tsre.us/sale. You'll be able to see all the promotions we've got going on right now. But otherwise, that's all the time we've got for today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next Friday, 12 noon. Until then, have a great week. So you just got your real estate license. How can you jumpstart your real estate business? The number one thing you should do before you do anything else is post-licensing. Now look, this is already a requirement, so you're gonna have to do it anyways, but here's why you wanna do it early. The sooner you do post-licensing, the sooner you're gonna learn the real-world concepts in post-licensing that will help you create a business plan, that'll help you plan for your success in real estate. Post-licensing is all about real-world topics that are usable, that'll help you grow your real estate business. And at Tampa School of Real Estate, we have the best post-licensing courses around. Find out more about how post-licensing can help you jumpstart your real estate career. Go to postflorida.com.
The most powerful tool to study for your real estate exam is the Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate. We've used our years of experience in preparing students for the Florida real estate exam to bring you the most powerful exam study tool available. In the Question Simulator, you'll be able to go directly to a particular unit so you can focus on the sections where you need the most practice. We have also included the percentages of each unit so you know which units are the most important for your real estate exam. Every question will immediately give you detailed feedback, which is almost always more important than the question or the answer themselves. After completing all the questions in a particular unit, you can go through question by question and review any that you've gotten wrong. You could also print out a report at the end of each quiz. The Question Simulator from Tampa School of Real Estate is 100% mobile compatible, so you can practice with test questions anywhere you have your phone with you. Enroll now at questionsimulator.com and get ready to pass your exam.
Are you studying for your Florida real estate exam? If you are, you need to check out our Pass First Try strategy. You're gonna love this. It's 4 steps that we break down the process to study for your Florida real estate exam. So you're set up to pass your Florida real estate exam because that's what you're studying for, right? To pass your exam. It's 4 steps. Number 1, you learn the information. You've got to learn this to be able to pass the exam, but it doesn't stop at learning. Step 2, you've got to reinforce the basic, simple, key concepts. As you learn this information, keep reviewing the simple things. You don't need to know everything, but you got to review these basic key concepts. Step 3, you've got to test your knowledge. The exam's going to test your knowledge, so if you don't test your knowledge in advance, you won't find out if you know what you think you know until you take the exam. And then step 4 is be confident and prepared, because even if you know this material, you need to be confident that you know the material. Check out the full strategy at passfirsttry.com. That's passfirsttry.com.
Have you seen what's going on in Tampa?
If you're looking to get in on the real estate action that's going on in Tampa right now, we're who you need to talk to. We can help you get your real estate license, start your real estate career. We're here to assist you for the life of your real estate career. Give us a call. Phone number is 813-928-0106, or check us out online at tampaschool.com. Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
This is our story.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thinking about getting your Florida real estate license? Look, the process is probably easier than you think. We break it down step by step, how much it's going to cost, what it is that you need to do to get your Florida real estate license. Find out all of that and more at licensefl.com. Again, that's licensefl.com.